Over the years, we've seen divorce as a failure.
Yes.
It's time we see divorce as a sign of courage.
Does this word co-parenting exist?
It
Looking back, Sukhneet, what advice you would like to give to your younger self?
One of my biggest learnings, if I have to tell something to my younger self, would be to just take time.
Yeah.
Getting married is not the ultimate goal, because the ultimate goal eventually would be to
An independent and being a courageous woman yourself, what you would like to tell these moms who are struggling in their own marriage and they do not have any courage to step out from that marriage and choose themselves first before anyone else?
I think women need to.
In today's episode, we'll talk about how to handle co-parenting better. We'll also cover mom guilt and how to raise the child in the better way. And today we have the beautiful Sukhneet Wadhwa with us. She is a luxury fashion content creator. She has spent almost a decade in the creator economy. She is known for her relatable and a very authentic content on her platform. Her community loves her. Welcome Sukhneet to our Palan Poshan podcast. And thank you so much for accepting our invite. It's wonderful to have you over here.
Yes, I'm very excited to do this.
You are? Yes. All right. So moving forward, Sukhneet, first of all, we would like to know when and how you started your content journey and what inspired you to even do this.
I think when I started, it was really long ago when Instagram was also not there.
Yeah.
We used to post on Facebook, which was almost 13 years ago. So that time, I think my motivation came from telling people about fashion and my love for advertising. Not many people know that I was a brand head before. I've done my MBA in marketing and finance.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've done all of that, and I soon realized that maybe I'm not feeling the corporate job as much. So I left all of that, and then I found this medium where I could like build a little community for myself and, you know, have that that connect with like-minded people. And just one fine day, and I think I was there at the right time, and I just started.
You just started?
I just started.
And you had no experience. Have you encountered any profiles like what is happening in other markets like in UK, in
So,
US?
I mean, little backstory. So at that time, like I said, I left my job and everything, and I was just 6 months jobless.
Okay.
And then I started writing for a friend's magazine, which was also an online magazine. It was about fashion and lifestyle.
Okay.
That's where I'd created the identity of Miss Coco Queen.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that magazine shut down in the next 6 months.
Oh.
But I continued writing, and in that stint, I figured that how you know, blogging, as we used to call it at that time, was so big internationally. People were actually considering it as a profession and a job. Yeah. So I think this was a good way to start somewhere for me, because I always wanted to be in this fashion sphere. So I thought, okay, let me just hope that's, because it took so long for me to at least explain my own parents that this is actually something. Because they're like, okay, you're already jobless for 6 months, and we don't see you making any money. But I think my time and investment and effort was what was the money that I
And I think we are talking about the year 2012.
Yes,
and
2012. I'm one of the first people in this country who started blogging and writing and storytelling.
Yeah. How do you find this name, Miss Coco Queen? Because it's really fascinating. Your nickname is Coco?
No.
Okay.
So just that happens that Coco Chanel and Alexander McQueen being my two favorite designers, so I just picked up Coco from the Chanel and Queen from Alexander and just put it together because I wanted a name and alias for myself. And so it happens, people know me now and address me more as Coco than my own name, which is Sukhneet. So, and I just can't drop it.
Because I always thought, I follow you for a very long time. It's just not now, because I have been seeing your journey for over 8-9 years now. It's almost a decade. In 26 it will be 10 years. I have seen your journey. You have empowered just not only yourself but other women out there. As you mentioned, you have a sense of style and a fashion, and it is just not now you have encountered it, because I have seen you in 2012 also, and I have seen your fashion sense at that point of a time, and you were extraordinary. However, this Coco thing, I always thought it's your nickname and your parents have given this to you.
It is absolutely a nickname now. It's become an alias. That's what people call me at work, and even my old school and college friends don't call me by name anymore, but Coco.
Okay.
So yeah, I think the what I wanted to create for myself actually happened.
Okay. Sukhneet, as you mentioned, your parents were not really very convinced when you told them about this particular genre. So how did you manage to actually tell them at that point of a time, see, whatever I'm going to do is something going to be very big in future? Did you find any difficulties, collaborating with other brands? And
Of course. See, it's how can I say? I have very resilient parents. There's a lot that I owe to them. They've raised me in ways. I mean, I think parenting is something. There's no rule book. Everyone does it for the first time. I'm their first child as well. So even if they didn't know what this was, their lack of understanding didn't mean the lack of support or the confidence they had in me in whatever I've done so far in life. So even if they didn't know about it, they still knew, okay, if she's doing it, and if she's and when they see the hard work. So I've always been very hardworking, and my effort has always been towards perfection, which I will come to later.
Yeah.
Which I have something has changed about that.
Okay.
But they never doubted it, and I think it was their support, and even if they questioned it, they supported it, and that's the reason I continued doing it. And today I am here talking to you about it 13 years later.
Yeah, and I think it's a long journey. I mean, you have seen challenges, you have your own self-struggle, and working in this community also is not very easy. It's very highly competitive now. I mean, at that point of a time, people were very naive. I didn't even understood that what kind of an industry it is.
Exactly.
But we all have seen that it's growing phenomenally, and I think it has almost a great future also in coming down the line for 5 years. This influencer community is growing day by day.
Yeah, the creator economy, I think, is growing, but is also an industry like any other industry facing its hiccups and problems, and like you said, the competition is ever challenging and ever growing. And when you asked me previously about brand collaborations, of course, brands didn't know what it meant. So, and at that time, I used to just work. I used to cover, give them presents. It took me a while to also make brands understand what this could do. And it was not as expensive as advertising.
Yeah.
Right? And still is not. So that's why the future is bright for creator economy, because it's authentic. People find you relatable. Where all these celebrities, Bollywood, Hollywood is still aspirational. Creators are very, the connect is one-on-one. If you follow someone, you follow them because you like them.
Yeah.
Not because of their screen persona or,
As a person, we like them.
Yeah, the personality comes through. And I think that's why if you see, YouTube has more cult follower because it's still easy to fake a personality in pictures for mediums like Instagram. But with videos, it's very one-on-one.
Yeah. And it's very authentic because you cannot fake anything unless you are master
in... You can't Photoshop it. I mean, with AI, I don't
Of
trust.
course, unless you're master in AI,
now,
you can.
Now it's different. But when it started, when this whole economy started, it was way different. And I'm sure it looks bright for sure. I mean, I still know so many people who started with me and are unfortunately, probably moved out of this whole industry, but being consistent and doing it as your full-time job is the reason I think I just continue to do what I do.
And you are doing fantastically, Sukhneet. Let me tell you, you are doing every effort, because I see your content and it is, of course it is relatable. Like, I have ordered so many things from the brand called, I forgot.
Shop.
Yes, Face Shop, first of all. Face Shop is something which I think you are You tell them to declare you as a brand ambassador.
They have.
Yeah.
Internally in their heads, they have.
Yeah, I mean, and your selection of apparels also, it's just not only, so you do a very budgeted, relatable content in fashion. You also do cosmetics and baby brands also. You also talk about your heart out, when you have to guide your community, when you have to when you want to give any advice to your community also.
Right.
So you're very real.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
I mean, I think the reason I have been able to stay connected is because people find me very authentic.
Yeah.
And and they connect with what I do, because I not only tell them, I mean, my work largely expands from fashion to luxury to beauty to travel. So all these spheres are something everybody wants to know, what's new, what's happening. So
you are one of those bloggers who actually represented India when you went to Paris.
Yes.
How was your experience over there?
In fact, I was one of the first creator to ever be invited to Paris. So
Fashion
it was
Week,
Fashion Week at Paris Fashion Week. It was a little contest that had, not a little, but a India-wide contest that had happened at that time, and I happened to win it, and then I was taken to Paris. So it's still one of my founding and of memory I'm very fond of. So,
and your greatest achievement, I mean,
I've won a couple of awards, but these little things I think just gave me that edge over, gave me that first mover's advantage, which helped me get that visibility. A lot changed. Brands also took notice that such a brand called Swarovski is doing such a extensive activity with creators in such a recent stage. So that's where brands also started taking notice and understanding how this actually works for them.
Yeah, no. So being a brand owner and being a brand person, I totally understand this influencer community now. Again, you clearly mentioned that when you talk about celebrities, they are very aspirational. I'm 100% sure that Shah Rukh Khan is not bathing from Luxo, but he's still endorsing it.
Yeah.
But however, if you are going to talk about Lux or I can still feel that Sukhneet kahin na kahin to usse use karti hogi.
Because that's an actual effort we always try to maintain. Like, I have declined so many fairness cream brands before. Now we don't call them fairness cream, it's brightening creams. But earlier I've set so many no to big campaigns only to maintain that even if how do I otherwise keep my influence real, right? I mean, now if I say, suppose something from Face Shop is great and I use it, and if you find it great, then of course it's in return it means I'm not being fake, I'm being authentic to what I do, and my main motive is to tell you something which will actually work for you.
Yeah.
There is no other way this creator economy can work.
And I've seen you also talk about the things which you don't even like. For an example, if you invested in some cosmetic products and you bought it from abroad and you didn't like it personally, so you want to share that message to your community. And I've seen many of that reel, and I also thought okay, fine, I'm not going to invest my money in this if she doesn't like, because I can relate with you. Moving on, we totally love your content. We adore you also. I'm one of your community person. I have seen you getting married very early.
Yeah.
So
I call it Bal Vivah.
Really? It was a Bal Vivah?
No, it wasn't. Okay. I was 25 then.
Okay, fine then. Then it was.
But in today's day and age, 25 is Bal Vivah.
It's a Bal Vivah, yeah. So, was it an arranged marriage?
It was an arranged marriage,
and why did you say yes? I mean, I really want to understand, being a person like you, you are a Scorpio if I'm not wrong, right?
That's right.
You are a Scorpion. I know about you a lot. So
I know, I can see that.
Yeah, you're a Scorpion and you have that, aspiration inside you that you want to do something in your life, you want to achieve something in your life. You are a beautiful mother of a 5-year-old baby and still you're juggling so many things at one point of a time and still dropping the ball. Why did you say yes when you were 25?
Wow. I think we millennials are sometimes conditioned by our parents and society that we need to be married by a certain age. There's we talk about biological clock, but I think there's a clock for every milestone in a woman's life. There is an education clock, there is a marriage clock, there is a child clock, and there is some clock, that clock. So it's always a ticking bomb than a ticking clock, to be honest. So it just, if you ask me if I think about my younger self, I also felt at that time that 25 is not that young. I've seen people, my mom had an example always that I was 19 when I got married. I was 21 when you were there. Now you're getting married in 25, and then we're not even telling you to, like, you know, get pregnant anytime soon like it used to happen back in the day with our boomer parents. So it felt okay. I mean, I thought it was fine. But now when I look back, I think one of my biggest learnings, if I have to tell something to my younger self, would be to just take time.
Yeah.
Getting married is not the ultimate goal, because the ultimate goal eventually would be to sustain that marriage. So what happened what has happened, and I honestly, I don't have any regrets. Because I did everything, everyone did everything in their best of abilities and capacities. It gave me a beautiful blessing, which is my son. So I will never be regretful of that time, and always be grateful for what it gave me. And what's gone and what's done is done.
I mean, that's a wonderful approach to it, that you are not regretting anything in your life. It was...
No, because I know for a fact that how much effort and you know, like you mentioned, being Scorpio, being go-getters, they're also known for their determination.
Yes.
So I was very determined to make this work, and I think after a couple of years, I realized that maybe, you know, when things don't happen, they don't happen because they won't happen.
Yeah.
Soon, when you realize that you won't be able to change that aspect, then it's easier to take the decision.
Yeah. So then, since we're talking about this early marriage, and you clearly mentioned that there is a clock ticking for a woman in every, you know, in every duration, in every age duration of her life. Like 25, you have to get married, 30, you have to get babies. There is a age clock. However, you know, now I think this Gen Z audience understand this very clearly, that the ultimate solution and the goal is not marriage. You need to find a happiness in your life.
Absolutely.
When we talk about marriage, Sukhneet, we have seen over the social media your journey about your marriage also, your baby also. When you got pregnant, I followed you at that point of time because I'm myself trying to get pregnant at that point of time. So I completely believed in your content and whatever you were saying. I also remember that you did a live with one of your gynecologists at that point of time, and it really helped just not only me but maybe other multiple moms out there who tried to conceive. So when you shared this kind of a content, you were very you know, you were very clear at that point of time that you have to raise your kids in a very well aspirational way, like upbringing has to be good, नानी नानू से मिलना है, दादी दादू, you have a good family also, आपका family culture भी बहुत बड़ा है, and आप उस टाइम पे आपने जब दिवराज, I think I'm correcting, दिवराज, आपने जब दिवराज की upbringing के बारे में सोचा था, तो when you became a mom for the very first time, what emotions and feelings and, you know, what kind of a determination came in your mind कि अब क्या करना है, you know?
Wow. You know, pregnancy happened to be by chance.
Okay. It wasn't planned?
It wasn't planned. Even if we were 8 years into our marriage, it wasn't planned. So when it happened, I'll be honest, it hit me as like a hard rock. And I was howling and hysterical in front of my mother, and actually said this.
You were howling?
Yes, I told her, it's not like a Zara return कि मैं कुछ खरीद लूँगी और मैं 30 days में I can return it to the store if I don't like it. And I remember I was having this conversation over lunch with my family, and everyone was laughing. And I'm crying, and I'm like, what's wrong with you people? Maybe it was just the hormones, or just, you know, it was the first hard-hitting moment. But having said that, like I said, he's one of my biggest blessings in life, and I think a lot of women can say that. New mothers will take time to say that, but eventually mothers will come to a point where they realize that child is actually a great thing to have.
It is, Sukhneet.
It is. Honestly, it is. So, I'm a first-time mother, and it obviously didn't come easy. I read a lot of books for sure to know what to expect, what not to expect. And even if I did, but you know, every situation or every something, whatever happens post a child, it's not written in the books. And जैसे बोलते हैं, बड़े बोलते हैं, there are things that comes from generations, they tell you कुछ चीज़ें होती हैं, नहीं होती हैं, वो भी है, but with every experience it's your own. So I won't say that I had a rule book, but I did know that raising a child is a big task, but only if you see it as a task. If you see it as a beautiful feeling, as somebody you're raising, somebody you can call your own, all that gives you some sort of courage. Because see, like I said, parenting doesn't have a rule book. Yeah. I wish I could read a book and give an exam and excel as a parent. So where failing at certain things is inevitable, but when you see your child thriving, I think nothing compares to that feeling.
I'm sure about it. I think parents, you completely completely understand this feeling. There is no emotions even we can tell it about. We can't explain
honestly,
it.
I've seen that when we grow up, we are mean to our parents, we say certain things, we blame them for certain decisions they make on our behalf, or they didn't let us do this or didn't let us do that. That's only because they're trying to protect you, and you can't know what good or bad parenting is.
Yeah.
You're only a parent.
Yeah.
And I think we children then decide to term them as good parent or a bad parent. But I think as a parent, your innate want and intent is to do good for your child.
Always.
I don't think of a parent any time or any they wish bad for their children. It's just circumstances which makes those things happen. But the innate want and wish is never wrong or bad for a child.
Yeah. Sukhneet, you're a very strong head and you're a very determined mom. I see that you have that. You definitely don't have a rule book for a parenting, but you certainly have some rules for Divraj,
Yeah, I do.
You do. I think all the moms does. Like when you are a boy moms, definitely you have to have that rule book in place. How moving forward, Sukhneet, again, if you're okay and comfortable to talk about this, you are a single parent now, and in India, historically, when we say and when we talk about single mom, the society is something which certainly see you, as some other departmental person. You are juggling in so many things, and then do you face any societal pressure post your separation with your husband?
I'm sure people had their own opinions. People would have judged me. But I think I really didn't care about their judgment. I think I would have judged myself. And I judged myself for staying in it for so long. So I didn't care about their judgment, but I cared a lot about what I think about myself. So where I'm sure people have their opinions, they talk about things, but I really didn't focus on that. Also because as two partners, we worked very extensively to make things happen in our marriage. And like I said, I don't have regrets because I know it wasn't a spontaneous decision that I got married and 6 months I was out of it. 13 years is a long, long time. So, yeah, and you're very grown adults, So for me, that decision making came after a lot of thoughtful thinking. So after a point, when you have the support of your family, your friends, it really doesn't matter what people tell about, honestly. And I think it's important for women to realize that society will say, even if you do everything by their rule book, they will find something or the other. That famous saying कि लोग तो कुछ कहेंगे, लोगों का काम है कहना, is something that would stay forever. You can't change that. I'm not there to change their narrative. I'm here to change only my narrative, and for people who may resonate with me because then they're probably sailing in the same boat.
Yeah. I think, Sukhneet, you're a very strong person. You have that zeal in you that you don't even shit
Two
about
cents,
them.
yeah.
Nothing about them. But there are women in tier 2, in tier 3 cities, even in metro cities, you find some women over there who doesn't have that kind of a support at their back. Their family doesn't, their family doesn't support her. And most of the time she's struggling in abusive marriages, in complex marriages. I always feel like, how to support these sort of a women out there. What kind of a message you would like to give to them?
The other day someone asked me, how is that wherever we see relationships are falling apart, why are there so many divorces happening? You'll be amazed to know that 50% of the marriages that happen in our country end up in divorces.
Oh God.
So if we are not addressing that, the reasons why, and if you're not looking for solutions, I mean, we're really failing as a society.
Yeah.
I feel that why things, at least in the first year, in our towns, in big cities like Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, why things are changing and people are coming out and openly talking about it is primarily two things. A, our families. Our parents are there for us. Gone are the days where a mother used to say, "अरे अरे बेटा घर मत आना, घर में और दो छोटी तुम्हारी बहनें हैं." So that narrative has changed absolutely. I feel parents understand that even if the child gets married, it's the love for them is equally for all the children.
For all the
just because she's got married and she was just unlucky about it. So I think the support parents, the change I've seen in parents is what is causing change. And this still be on number two. My number one feeling about, and which is not just a feeling but actual stats, why this is happening is because we women are actually financially independent. Sooner or later, when we are financially independent, especially women like us in big cities, we realize that we can lead a life by ourselves. We don't need anyone to take care of ourselves. I think being financially dependent is the biggest reason why women are in unhappy relationships for the rest of their life. So being financially independent, knowing your self-worth is something which has caused the change. And I think it may take time, but when more and more people are going to talk about it, when more people like you are going to question or help send a message out, somewhere down the lines, I'm not saying tomorrow, but in some fabulous few years, things will trickle down and women will understand our education helps us.
Yeah.
Our financial independence is obviously helping us. Our reconditioning of our parents and our own mindset is helping us. In fact, I would tell women, we often hear कि अरे बच्चे छोटे हैं, our kids are young, we can't take that decision. I mean, I don't know how women feel that they can raise a healthy and happy environment for their child when they are so unhappy themselves. Giving an unhappy environment to their child is the worst that they could do.
Of course.
I mean, and I didn't want my child to give him a childhood where he had to eventually heal from.
Yeah.
So for me, that decision was now. And I think when more and more women see it clearly, when they have support, when they have financial independence, where they understand that their children are young, but we give them so much, they're so resilient, and I don't think we give them enough credit for that.
Yeah.
And I just hope it just gets better and better for more women out there.
No, you clearly said it, that financial independency is crucial.
Absolutely.
Of course, they need to find a support from their families. However, if the families are not supporting, take your decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Because see, in the end, you have to understand your worth. And I know not every parent can be so outgoing and be, reformed by change. But I think how we present ourselves is how the society perceives us.
True.
It's not the other way around. The society cannot define you. How you see yourself, how you put yourself out there is exactly how society will see you. And in fact, social media is the biggest platform to actually prove this.
Yeah.
that even if you don't know what's happening in the back or at the back end of that person's life, what they see on social media is the exact life people believe in.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a sad reality of this social media sphere, but this is what it is.
So, Sukhneet, when you, told your community about your separation, did you find any impact on your, on your worth? Like your users, your community followers are telling you, no, Sukhneet, you are doing wrong. You should have your family. Divraj is very small. Did you receive these sort of comments and messages, or you were blessed with a beautiful community? They are supporting you. What kind of a?
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Firstly, I was never in the idea of sharing this news publicly, but I had to, for whatever reasons that I had
because
to.
You're a public person.
Yes, eventually I think that was the reason I had to do it. Otherwise, I think I had kept mum about it, and I think people slowly started to understand that there might be something. But then, okay, I eventually did it, and I feel that was some sort of a closure it gave to a lot of people. So when that happened, many other divorces were being spoken about, other creators, celebrities, etc., etc. So the level of hate that I was seeing being received by them was appalling, and I was like, I don't know what kind of reaction I will get. And I'll be honest, I didn't get any hate, anything at all. Though this was one aspect of my life which I didn't talk about on social media, though I did share very happy moments of our life and family. But this one aspect because I still feel I'm still a very closed person out there in an open, setup. So I think my effort of being authentic and real was understood, people resonated, and thankfully, of course, there were some people who had their own thought, who probably still pop up one time. There were a few conversations on Reddit where people were talking about it.
Really?
Yeah, that's part and parcel, so it's okay. So, but it wasn't that bad, honestly.
Okay. I mean, you didn't receive any hate. You have a fabulous community. I'm one of them. So
I mean, I'm so grateful. In fact, now, and this is probably the first time I'm able to address that, I'm so grateful for them to actually believe in the decisions I've made. They've been, and I think they've been part of my journey for so long.
Exactly. That is the reason.
They've seen me grow through day by day and year by year, that they just trusted me with my own decisions.
See, you are a modern woman. I'm just telling you my example, how I see you. You are a modern woman. You are an educated person. You do what you love to do. But you are a very family person, because most of the times I have seen with you, mother, I've seen you with your father, I've seen with your, with your brother.
Yeah,
I've seen you creating content with your sister-in-law. So somehow or other, I resonate with you so well, because that's what I am also. And I'm just telling you, whatever 4 lakhs, 6 lakhs followers you have, most of them are like you. So that is the reason you didn't receive any hate, because we somehow or other want to support you, because we resonate with you.
Absolutely.
If this can happen with you, it can happen with us also.
Of course.
So we resonate with you. That is the reason you didn't receive hate. Moving on, Sukhneet, it's a very big decision you took, and I'm sure you were I'm not sure if you were depressed, but you must be having that sort of a sad tenure in your life.
Of course.
How did it impact to Divraj? Like, is there anything you want to share, that how you tackle that serious, impact on your child at that point of time? How he was behaving? What was his reaction?
I think because my son, who is 5 now, was 3 when I took this decision.
It's already 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, 2 year, 1 year to separation,
Okay,
1 year to the final proceedings.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think he was just way too young to really understand what this is, which also worked in our favor. I mean, there was nothing very stigmatic or jarring that he had to see or go through. So I think his age helped us control that aspect, that he has not seen anything crazy or bad or impactful enough. So, but of course, I think what I feel is, if it was not then, but now he's growing and he understands things. Sooner or later, when he'll be old enough, say like a 9-year-old or 10-year-old, where he'll obviously have a mind of his own, he might ask me questions I may not know answers of. Because right now he's at an age where I'm able to communicate to him and explain him things the way he can understand, and it has worked for me. I've never hid anything from him. Whenever he has questions, I answer to him with a lot of abundance and care. I obviously tell him that, now you have 2 homes. Your other friends have 1 home. Now you have 2 homes. You have 2 sets of rooms, which has 2 sets of toys. So I've always, reached out to him with abundance of love. 2 families, 2 homes, 2 everything twice. So I tell him, you're the luckiest boy I know. So, and I continue to do that. And I'll be honest, both the households are so caring and loving towards this child.
Okay.
It's not just a saying I said, it's an actual reality. He just doesn't have 1 unhappy home. He has 2 very thriving, happy homes.
Okay. So, does this word co-parenting exist?
It exists because I'm doing it.
Okay.
It exists, but unfortunately, I don't think it exists as much.
Okay. How do you, I don't understand. Please explain.
In fact, like you just said, someone reached out to me and said, you're the only person I know who's co-parenting.
Yeah.
I don't know where the divorce rate is 50%. Co-parenting is nowhere to be spoken about or even exercised or tried upon. So where co-parenting is actually a parenting approach where both the parents are equally and effectively involved in the child's life. Making decisions about education, health, routines, schedules. So, and so much it happens, I've seen in my own groups and families and friends, that I don't see fathers even thinking about co-parenting.
Yeah.
मतलब अगर divorce हो रहा है तो बच्चा माँ के पास ही जाएगा. Why?
Yeah.
I don't understand why. And so it happens, this is probably, I think, one of the biggest reasons why people don't understand co-parenting. When this happened with me, I knew that I want Divraj to have his father as equal as he will get his mother. And it wasn't easy. It took a lot of effort because, of course, you are in a sphere where egos are clashing, the emotions are heightened, there is always so much rushing throughout, in and out, in so many ways. So you really have to keep your egos in bay and actually put your child ahead.
Yeah.
And I always say that you might not be great partners, but you can obviously be great parents.
Yes.
And when you be great parents, great co-parents, that's exactly the kind of love, the real love for your child is. So, co-parent, there's no rule book again, but I must tell you it's a legal document where you can actually put the schedules, like we have a set time, what days he's there, what days he's here, who's taking care of what expense. So it's actually a legal document, and honestly, communication and clear understanding is what thrives co-parenting. There's no other way.
As you mentioned that, of course, there is a legal document, the time's decided that these days he has to go to his father's house or he has to spend this much time.
Right.
And a lot of mutual decisions,
Absolutely.
decisions are there for your child. So you will also suggest the school, and Divraj father
Yes,
has
absolutely. You have to consider each other's, views and wishes for the child. Like I said, it's only open communication. I know it's hard to understand that 2 people are communicating who couldn't communicate in their marriage or relationship.
But for the child,
if you love your child and if you want, like I said, you want your child to not have a childhood where he's healing from in the future, eventually you will take that decision, and a child needs both parents equally.
Yeah.
Goes without doubt.
Yeah.
So I would encourage more and more people. Honestly, I will use your platform today like I use my own to tell them that try, try a little harder to be there for your child. Because even if you are in this relationship, if you're trying so hard and being in this relationship for the sake of your children, why not take this approach?
Yeah.
Where he gets to see two happy parents
Yeah.
than one unhappy couple.
Of course, I mean, if they're saying two happy parents and they were not happy earlier, definitely, the impact on the child will be more surprisingly different.
Of course, you don't know what repercussions you will see,
Yeah.
what impact it will leave.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, not now, but anything can happen in future, right? You don't foresee the future.
Yeah.
What you can foresee now is giving yourself happiness, peace.
Yeah.
I think peace and happiness are two things that are so rare in this day and age.
Yeah.
And I think that's what one should strive for.
Yeah. So, Sukhneet, co-parenting is, again, you beautifully explained that it exists. People are not really often talk about it. When you talk about co-parenting, I'm sure Divraj is very. I think I'm in love with this boy because he understands so much. Just not only you, but his father also.
Of course.
Most of the times when Divraj has school teacher parents meeting and his annual function or his birthday, at that point for time, how he actually ask you that I want to be with my father also, I want to be with my dadu also, or how do you encourage that family time at that point for time?
So, so there are few things we actually do. Both me and his dad have made few decisions that whenever it comes to any school engagement, like probably going for a PTM or school carnival, sports day, we're going to do this together.
Okay.
We also make a point that he sees us together on a sort of a lunch or a dinner every fortnight. We go out as a family. We do certain activities, probably, go to a play date, a play area, go to the park, or probably, do some activity together. Because in the end, he has to see that, even if the units are living separately, but together for him, we come together. And I think when he grows up, he might just appreciate that fact.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen in future, how easy or difficult this is going to get, because I think, because as kids grow, it only gets difficult, and I will have this added difficulty to manage, in fact, his father too. But I feel that I'm trying to raise a child who is independent, and I value his thoughts and opinions. I don't shut him down. So I think when that day comes, when he's really thinking hard about this, he comes up to me and we have a conversation, and hopefully I'll be able to say something which helps him understand this.
Does he understand that you guys are not together? Or he doesn't have any notion about it?
I think it soon came into his routine and schedule that this is how his lifestyle is.
Okay.
So, like I said, he was too young. He's seen a life. I don't think he remembers as much when we were together, but he remembers more of this. And whenever we are together as a unit, as a family, very, very cordial. He's seen us, together for him. And he has sometimes asked me questions, but it feels like he understands, but only to the ability of his understanding at this age.
Of course. So, Sukhneet, very quick, if you can tell our users that when you are co-parenting, what key factors and key point one should keep in their mind when they are starting co-parenting?
I think firstly, they have to put the child first. There is no other way to say this, that your priority has to be this child. You have to keep your egos at bay. You have to keep your, disagreements at bay. You have to be a bigger parent than a bigger person. When I say that, I mean that you have to take that job more seriously. As parents who are doing this separately, have more responsibility, and they need to be more mindful. So, I'm not saying that you need to do this ekdam se, you don't need to put yourself into further misery. I don't even think this is possible for every couple.
Yeah.
there are some situations, some divorces where it's just not possible. Or probably someone's living in some other country or other city. So it also largely depends on factors which makes this happen. And if you have workable factors, then factors like, being there for the child, like I said, doing things together, and also I think what you say to that child when they are with you, you have to be very, very mindful. You need to respect the mother or the father of the child. You need to make sure that you don't say things just to hurt the other person.
Yeah.
Never, never use your child as a messenger.
Yeah.
Never. So that's what I'm saying. Just be a little mindful of what your reaction will impact your child. So if you do that, it'll be easier. And I'm sure there are a lot of, we can talk about this endlessly because like I said, I've not seen anyone talk about it.
Yeah.
But take baby steps, see how it works for you. And eventually, for the love of your child, you can figure this out.
I'm sure about it.
Yeah.
Again, I have a very tricky question here. Co-parenting, definitely, you beautifully explained that it exists. It exists if you have a determination to do it for your child, from both the sides, from mom and father. Financial discussion about the child when you are co-parenting. How you tackle that financial contribution, because it has to come from your end, or it only comes from the father's end?
No, it's actually an arrangement. Like I said, it's a legal document. You have your mutually discussed clause, who's going to do what, and basis what works for both the families or parents, they can decide on that. There's no set rule to it.
Okay. So there's no such benchmark that mother only has to do this and father only.
It's absolutely between the two parents, like I said.
Perfect.
So what works for them, what they think they can sustain in the future, one must remember that it's not the decision for today or tomorrow. It is going to be a decision for a lifetime. I mean, you need to know that you're going to raise this child for at least the next 18 years of your life. So take that decision with a very sustainable outlook. I mean, don't worry about the society, honestly. Oh, he's doing that. You're only doing this. He's doing, and I don't even think you need to share the details of how you plan to co-parent.
Yeah.
Because I really don't think I'm answerable to or responsible for what the society thinks of me. But I'm absolutely responsible for what my child thinks of me.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's for both parents.
Of course, and as you mentioned that if you are you're doing the sake for your child, and you have to respect both the parties, just not only yours.
Absolutely.
I think that respect has to be there.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's going to happen instantly, over time, tomorrow, day after. It is co-parenting, it doesn't exist because it's hard.
Yeah.
It's real business.
You have to see the faces again and again.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's real business. I mean, you don't want to be partners with them, but you still have to talk to them, communicate with them, see them. So it's tough, but like I said,
you have to do for your child.
I mean, that was my outlook, at least.
Of course.
That if I'm not able to give him a consolidated one single household, at least I give him two parents.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way you take care of the hardest conversation with your son. I mean, you beautifully mentioned that. I always tell him that you have two houses, you have 2 rooms, and you are actually telling him, something which is very difficult to understand, but still he is understanding. And it's a very, not a formal way, but a very beautiful and abundance of love. And
yes. It's all about conversation. As Indian parents, I will say for Indian parents, I don't know why we shy away from talking to our children or really getting into heart to heart with them. Why we always think, अरे उनको समझ नहीं आएगा, ज़रूरत नहीं है, they're not that old enough.
Tell them, yeah.
I don't know why most parents don't appreciate what a children's mindset can bring on the table, because I'm sure that would be the next future and will inculcate the change in the society, because it's young thriving minds which are more resilient.
Yeah.
So whenever I talk to Divraj, I never underestimate that conversation. I always feel that whatever it is in his capacity, he will understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I tell him with all honesty, with all honesty. I tell everything, Divraj, with all honesty and with a lot of love and care and abundance, like I said, and in a way which he can understand.
No, that's of course
Yeah.
you have to talk in his
Yeah,
language.
his language.
Yeah. So, Sukhneet, you are a working mom, and I say not a corporate working mom, not a 9 to 5 job. You are a celebrity influencer. You are a content creator. You have to go out for events. You have to go out of cities. You have to go
Yes.
out of country. You have to represent yourself as a content creator, but you are a working mom too, and you're a mom too. So how do you manage your time? How do you cope up with your work lifestyle over his playtime? How do you cope up everything when it comes to Divraj and your work?
Wow. I'm still learning how to do that.
Yeah.
I
Please
think
teach me.
it's an ongoing process. But one thing I can tell you in all of this few months, it's really not about the perfection.
Okay.
It's just about prioritizing. And I know, and I've made peace with the fact that there would be things I will not be able to do. There are few things which I have to let go. But when I see how my child is thriving, what I'm able to achieve, what I am able to do for myself, because we women often talk about self-care, right? Self-care is such a big agenda, whatever you would like to call it. We've made self-care so big, not realizing self-care is just for survival.
Okay.
It's not something, it's not luxury, it's not something only few get it. It's as equal or as regular as waking up in the morning, having your meals, working out. Self-care is for survival. If you don't practice this every day, I don't know.
You will collapse, of course. That's a very beautiful approach to it.
Yes, there is obviously going to be a day where you will like, I'm not able to do anything. My world has come crashing down on me, where I was trying to make everything happen for myself. So it's important to prioritize what is important for you first. Whenever we travel in an aircraft, they have this thing. Whenever there is low oxygen, पहले अपना mask पहनिए, फिर बच्चे को help करिए. So first help yourself to help your child. So I help myself, and how I help myself, I mean, of course, I can't take all credit. I might be just 10% of it. My family, my friends, my girls at work, who are also happen to be here, they are my armors. Without them, it's impossible. And of course, my child, who just understands everything, I feel. You know, when I tell him that, Divraj, I have to be here, I have to go for a shoot, he will say, why can I come? I'm like,
he's a kid.
Yeah, and I've worked so much in front of him. He's part of the shoots. He's come to office so regularly. He's seen me how much hard work I do. And somewhere I have this feeling that he gets the effort I put in giving him a life that he deserves. And I wish to. You know, we often talk about, oh my God, our kids are privileged.
Yeah.
You know, they get everything too soon in life. But I just feel that if I'm able to do it on my own, I'm not asking for anyone's help. If I'm able to provide him something, a kind of life that I have received, and, you know, probably I want to do more for him, why not?
Of course. And I mean, of course, we say that, you know, जो तुमको मिल रहा है वो हमको नहीं मिला. But at the end of the day, हम चाहते हैं उनको वो देना because वो हमें नहीं मिला.
And then I have my family. I can, you know, peacefully leave him with my parents or with my brother and co-sister. I know he has a home. And then, of course, he has his dad. You know, I plan my travel on days when he's with his dad. So I'm less pressured. My team at work, they are so good with him. You know, मुझे feel ही नहीं होता कि he's somebody, he's a child.
Yeah.
And he also is so kind and caring and loving that everybody just gets attracted to him like magnets.
Yeah.
All my friends are his friends.
Yeah. Really? Wow.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
So he is also a social influencer, a kid social influencer.
My mom says he was born with it.
He's born with it, of course. Your genes are to him. Sukhneet, you mentioned that you always travel wisely whenever he is with his dad, and you plan your travel according to availability of your parents.
Of course.
Whenever you are leaving out for work and whenever you have this work commitment and your child is with your parents or with your ex-husband, still do you have that mom guilt pressure in your mind, or do you this mom guilt is very common because you know the constant pressure of to be a perfect mom is the idea where I personally feel that I'm lacking because I have a lot of work commitment. My son is just 6 months old and I'm here today doing podcast. I work 20 hours in a day, and I'm struggling. I'm actually struggling that how should I cope up with this. You mentioned it that you know you give authorities to other people to take care of son while you're out.
Of course.
But still, do you have that mom guilt in your heart? Or no? I mean, tell me very honestly.
I'll be very, very honest.
Yeah.
You might get comments where people would bash this comment of mine. But honestly, till now at least I can say, I don't have mom guilt.
Okay.
I don't. I'm not being self-righteous or I'm not boasting about myself. But I know what I do for that child. And if I know I'm not doing it enough, I have enough friends and family telling me, you're not doing this right, you're not doing that right. And I'm not saying you're supposed to listen to everyone, but I do have a core group which I know has the right, intent for me. They want the best for me, and I do listen to them. Asking for help, I don't know why we make it such a big deal. It should be so easy to ask for help. We should develop a cohesive environment and family, but it's easy to ask each other for help. Today, if you are in trouble, I'm going to help you. I'm in trouble, you're going to help me. When you have that thing at the back of your head, it's not tough.
Okay.
And I know that when I come back, this is what I have to do with him. And I tell him that, this mom is going for this. Mom is doing this. I always, like I said, I communicate with him with honesty. And I also tell him, listen, if you want to take that, so he's been telling me, mujhe Disney jana hai, mujhe yahan jana hai, wahan jana hai. And I tell him that you want all of this, which means mom, dad have to work really hard to give you this. And he understands that. He absolutely does.
So from the start, actually you are teaching him that whatever you're going to get, it isn't easy. I have to work very hard. Your father has to.
Absolutely. So now he has this demand that he wants a Lamborghini. So we have a piggy bank for his Lamborghini. And then he started going around asking friends and family, Nanu, Nani, put money in my piggy bank. I was like, this is not how you do it.
Yeah.
You have to earn your money. So we went and put up a lemonade stand.
Okay.
We went to the market, got whatever, mint, lemon, whatever he knows. He made the lemonade. He sold it off and he earned that money. And it was a tough, long day.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we should, give them a purview of what you go through. I have always told myself, even when I got pregnant, the child is going to be part of my life. My life is not going to revolve around his life. He doesn't have a life. He's just here.
Yeah.
So if I want to continue doing what I'm doing, his routine has to be as per my routine.
Yeah.
And he's just thrived in that. There hasn't been a problem.
I understand. You certainly do not have that mom guilt because you understand the fact.
I mean, there are a few instances where I felt, oh my God, I'm late. Like
Yeah,
yesterday,
of course.
we wrapped shoot at 12 o'clock in the night.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, we do bedtime story reading. Sometimes I'm not there at the bedtime, So that's always
I'm
there.
seeing the larger picture. I'm
But
not
in
talking
larger
about
picture, when
yeah.
I see him happy,
Yeah.
when I'm spending such quality time with him, when, we are having a good time together, it fizzles away.
I think the person needs to know a right balance between
Balance also, and I think a lot of time, people around us give us more guilt
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true.
than our own ourselves.
Maybe. Yeah. That's the right answer.
Why are you late?
Yeah.
Why are you not doing this? Why are you feeding him? Why are you giving him? Others' question has put you in self-doubt.
Yeah. I think sometimes my real mom even tells me
You
that.
are doing fab. Trust me, you are doing the best that you can. Trust me.
Thank you, Sukhneet. So, again, it's not a mom guilt thing, but being a possessive mom and being over-caring mom, I feel that if I have done this thing for my son, it would have been 99.9. But if other person is doing that stuff for my son, it is 80% or 60% or 70%. So I started doing this, difference between doing stuff. Like, for an example, just a massage or just styling him. Because, see, again, my mother says, he is 6 months old, what you will do? Like, kya, you want to make him a model or what? So, I have this thing. Have you faced these kind of challenges? Like, when you given your baby to your mother or to your mother-in-law, whomsoever, you face this thing, यार मैंने ये किया होता तो ये अच्छा होता, यार ये क्या करते, कैसे रखते हैं, मैं मम्मी ऐसे नहीं किया करो. Have you encountered all these challenges?
You know what?
Or is this in my mind?
And you're not alone.
Oh, perfect.
You're not alone. And I think it's prevalent more with first-time moms.
Okay.
First-time working moms.
Yeah.
When they have to leave their child behind and do all of this. I mean, you see yourself. You're happy the way your parents raised you.
I don't know. I mean, half of my life I had a boy haircut. And I always had to be a Krishna in a Janmashtami. I never get a chance to become a Radha because of my parents. So I am not sure about it.
See, all I say is that when you do give them the child, or when you do leave your child with them, that's where your job is for the day. You can't be controlling, aapne aise nahi karna, aapne वैसे नहीं करना. You have to make it easier for them also.
That's the reason I get bashed.
Yeah, if you don't, see, that's why you have to develop that model for yourself that works for you. If you want to continue working, you need to make sure that this also which factors that let you work needs to be functional, practical. So I trust parents. I trust my parents. And थोड़ा एक आधा चीज़ें हो जाती हैं, but I think everything is great with open communication.
Yeah.
And I think what you're feeling right now as a young 6-month-old child who just gave birth, it's okay. It's okay. Just maybe you can communicate to them what you want them to do in what capacity. वो जितना भी कर सकते हैं कर लेंगे.
I mean, of course, fortunately, they're doing. I mean,
Exactly.
Yeah.
In fact, you should be
thankful
that they're in the same city.
Yeah.
What if they
3
were
kilometers
not?
away,
Yes.
yeah.
What if you didn't have that option? I
Yeah,
see
true.
so many women that they
Yeah.
have to leave their child with a house help or
Yeah,
nanny. That's
yeah.
even worse.
That's even worse.
So
I have a friend and she's working for L'Oreal, and I've seen her juggling between taking care of a job and then nannies, and it's very dramatically not really good. I mean, most of the times the child is not fed, and the nannies are busy on their own phones. So you're correctly telling me that I should be grateful and thankful enough.
No, you can only be peaceful at work if that aspect of your life is sorted.
Yeah.
So make sure you have a solid, framework around it. You can put your cameras, or you can, have someone to invest. People used to tell me, "Arey, you've kept such a expensive nanny or whatever." Like I said, I will buy 5,000 rupees Zara less. I will skip one dinner.
Yeah.
But I will invest in a help who could be with my child.
Of course.
And I am stress-free.
Yeah.
Because I have to earn, I have to make a living.
True.
Not for myself, but for that child as well.
For that child, true. So, Sukhneet, when you say upbringing, because you are raising a child and his upbringing is crucial and important for you, that is the reason you want to keep 10,000, 15,000 rupees more, like, finding out a nanny, an expensive nanny. When I say upbringing, what is the right approach? You must be navigating and following some path that you are determined and focused that Divraj has to learn this, has to learn this,
Absolutely.
that. So what is that, follow process for you?
I think I've always been very family oriented, like you mentioned yourself earlier. So a lot of our dynamics are very family oriented. We make sure we do things together. Also, I will try that he's very grateful, and also that he values the effort everyone brings to make things around, give him things, or just a regular day to day. So, like you understood, like everyone knows, there is no format to parenting.
Yeah.
But yes, I have that. I want him to be very compassionate when he grows up. I want him to be kind. I want him to be very generous. We have this act of seva which we do very extensively in our household.
Oh, okay.
So, langar and all those things. So he loves all of that. And he's very participative. And I also make sure that, when he's with the other house staff or somebody, he sees them with equal respect and love. Not just his elders, like his grandparents, but everyone who's older to him.
Yeah.
So, and of course, these come from how I have been raised.
Yeah.
My upbringing is also plays a lot of. So, I'm just grateful to my parents as well.
No, I've seen, he's 5 years old, and I see one of his birthday you guys have celebrated in an NGO.
Yes,
and,
yes.
And he was very happy. I mean,
Yes.
have you told him to be there, or it's just organically
In fact,
came in?
the first time I did my baby shower was actually with a group of 150 underprivileged children.
Wow.
I never understood the idea of doing baby showers, but this is something I really wanted to do, and we did that. Then Divraj's second birthday was again done with underprivileged children. Like I said, even in a house, when the staff comes with there's a cleaning lady, she comes with his little son, I would never stop him from playing
with
or
him,
sharing food or giving his toys.
Very nice.
So I think just these little details may have a major impact to how compassionate he is in future.
Yeah. So, Sukhneet, you only have not even worked with Baby Forest, but Divraj also, and he has used your products.
Yes.
And I see one of the video where he is actually mopping the floor. Do you really ask him to do that? Is it for the screen, or he does it in a regular day?
He's washed clothes.
Wow.
He's swept the floors. He's marrowed pocha. He's done his wardrobes. He's cleaned his storage, toy storage, almirahs. I always tell him to help his didi when she's cleaning. I mean, he's made rotis.
Wow.
He's baked cakes. I mean, he has to do this.
And he's a 5-year-old.
And he's a 5-year-old. And, this is not just a form of passing time. I think I'm just creating so many memories for both of us in this process.
Would you allow me to do a podcast with him?
Go ahead.
I mean, I'll be more than happy to invite Divraj and, to talk about.
He's one entertainer.
Really?
He is one entertainer.
We are going to call Divraj.
He vlogs.
He vlogs? Of course he's coming. I mean...
He just takes my phone, puts it on recording, faces to himself and just starts saying, when he was younger, he couldn't say the word subscribe. So you should say, subscribe to my channel.
How sweet.
He's done that.
No, very nice. So again, this is just not only you want, I think that's how you raised. And you have seen and you have done this personally.
I mean, everything sounds super, that I'm being a great mom here, but I'm sure I have my downsides to it, which you're not reflecting.
I was about to ask you that when you have a bad day and when you are not emotionally strong at some point for time, and you have a constant pressure of mama ye karo, mama wo karo, mama I want that, I want this. At that point of a time, in a very emotional, tricky situation, do you scold him? How do you handle him?
So whenever I'm having a bad day or a low day or I'm not feeling up to mark, and you'll be surprised that my son is my biggest cheerleader. I just tell him how I'm feeling and he just gets it, and then he'll do his little tricks to make me happy, ask me, are you doing okay? When someone just asks you if you're doing okay, and when it comes from a child who's just 5, you feel like, wow, life's amazing.
Yeah, automatically your moods rejuvenate.
And one hug here and there just does it for me.
Wow, I mean, again, it just not over the night it's built inside him. I think he has seen you so compassionate, he has seen you so kind with other people.
Yes.
And that is the reason he has that
I
sort
think
of
he has something in him. It's not just me. This guy is blessed.
So he is not a naughty kid. He doesn't want to watch TV or
Which kid doesn't want to watch TV?
okay, specifically. And he's a Superman fan or superhero fan.
Superhero fan.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason I read books when I was pregnant was because I always believed in routines. I think kids thrive on routines. They have a set schedule. So I always had a wake-up time, meal time. I now also have a screen time.
Okay.
And we have rules like you cannot eat and watch TV. You cannot, just watch TV endlessly. Or, there's a parental lock on what he can watch and not watch. So there are few things that I obviously govern. And all of these rules are communicated in the household, and even if I'm not there, it's practiced by everyone in both households now. So, yes, there is screen time, there's without doubt. I've not seen a child who doesn't enjoy screen time.
So you have certain control over his screen time.
If I don't engage him, or if I don't have rules, he will not, he's a 5-year-old, he will not end up following his routine. So I have, these rules set, and I also engage him in so many other activities so that he doesn't want to just go to a TV. Because how much can grandparents or your nanny can, stop a child from doing something. So I always make sure that there's enough activities, enough things for him to do in the house, enough sensory play, enough... he's 5, so we've started playing these mental math card games.
Wow.
He loves puzzles. He loves Lego. So all these other activities really help him spend his time effectively.
Sukhneet, when we used to go to schools, at that point of time, the sensibility of fashion and looking good was not particularly there, because we were set to do 2 braids and wearing our skirts and shoes. But nowadays, the sensibility of fashion in kids are also changing. Since you are a fashionista yourself and you believe in a very good fashion styles, and you yourself is not only talking about international brand but also homegrown brands, and you totally support Make in India.
About Baby Forest.
A lot. So when you talk about the sensibility of fashion is improving in kids, do you see that Divraj has any sort of a peer pressure from his school, and he always comes to you that, Mom, I want to wear something like this, please do something like that?
I think that's mostly generated to what he watches on the TV.
Okay.
He doesn't get that from his school right now, his friends right now, because he's still young. Like I said, maybe another 5 years down the line, that peer pressure builds, and then he might want the same things his peers have. But what he sees on TV is more prevalent, and that's why it's so important to restrict the screen time and make sure what he watches is age appropriate. So he understands what is not meant for him, what is for adults, what is for children. So that awareness he also has. So as of now, I'm being able to govern that factor for him. For future, I don't know.
Perfect. So Sukhneet, my last question or a discussion format is that there are so many women out there, and there are so many women who are afraid not to specifically talk about co-parenting, separation, divorce. Just not only they are not financially independent, they have this dilemma of this societal pressure in their mind. Even they feel like that the society will only judge women. What is your take here? And do you believe that they should not go ahead and take a step for themselves, or what is your call in here?
Over the years, we've seen divorce as a failure.
Yes.
It's time we see divorce as a sign of courage. I mean, being in an unhappy relationship, not taking care of yourself, it's not gonna serve anyone any purpose. Not you, your family, not your partner, not his family. And I know there's so much societal pressure we face. And you really can't stop people. And I'll tell you a trick. You cannot stop people from saying things, but you can absolutely change the way you respond to it. I mean, it is your dialogue to yourself, what you tell yourself. Don't feed yourself what others are saying. People talk about, oh, you're glowing when someone gets married and you're this and that. The real glow or real happiness is not in a jar.
Yeah.
It comes from self-worth. If today you believe in yourself and your worth, no one can undermine you. Literally no one, not even yourself. But you need to know your worth. You need to know who you are and what you're doing. You need to believe in what you're doing. You really need to believe that you are capable to make important life decisions by yourself. It's not a decision to be made by your parents or your husband or whosoever or your relative. The day we stop giving power to someone else and reserve that power for our own self, I think that's where the narrative will change.
So, what advice you would like to give to women who is facing these sort of difficulties, that what they should keep in their mind when they are stepping ahead and choosing themselves over anybody else? So,
thank God you're asking this question. I thought you were going to ask me what advice are you going to give to married women.
No, not
I
at
have
all.
no advice because I clearly failed in my marriage.
No, not at all. I'm actually asking your advice because you chose this life for yourself and you understood your own self-worth. You are happily doing this co-parenting stuff also. I mean, it's not a stuff, it's a real lifestyle. But you very bravely came out from the marriage. You were not happy and you understood your own self-worth. So what, being an independent and being a courageous woman yourself, what you would like to tell these moms who are struggling in their own marriage and they do not have any courage to step out from that marriage and choose themselves first before anyone else?
I think women need to believe that whatever they have done so far to make this relationship marriage, I think women should believe that whatever efforts they have put towards this relationship to make it work is enough. Somewhere the buck stops, right? You just cannot give your life away in making one thing work, even if you know that it's falling apart. I think women should realize that there is a threshold to things. Change is constant, but there are some things, sadly, you cannot change.
Yeah.
So you need to believe that you've done everything in your capacity. That's where your mom guilt will hide away, your societal pressure won't matter to you, because you know you've done everything that you can. Believe in yourself, like I said. Believe that you've done everything that you could have to make this marriage, and if it's not working, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's one life. I say it to everyone, it's one life. Please live it.
Make it count.
Make it count. Not just for anyone, but for yourself. Tomorrow, if tomorrow you wake up and if tomorrow comes and you don't wake up, you should not regret. There should not be just one life. Make it count and live it the way you want to.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, see, we live in a society, of course, we don't live in isolation. We continue to thrive in a society, we live with families and we do everything. But how we set our own narrative, our own story of our life is what we're going to be remembered for.
Very nice and very well said. I think what I understood and the conclusion of this entire podcast is that if you will not know your own self-worth and if you will not respect and love yourself, you won't be able to reciprocate the same to others.
I think it's time to kill that self-doubt.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sukhneet. It was a wonderful discussion I had with you. I mean, something very emotional and very close to my heart, because your experience and your saying and your advice just not only going to help me or it will help to countless women who are listening to us. And I think by this channel, by this Palan Poshan community, we would be able to help some moms to give
Absolutely.
that courage.
I am so, like, I'm feeling very happy and proud that you are doing, you're talking about such hard-hitting questions. You're talking about separation, divorce, co-parenting, and, subjects I don't know how more brands think about, but here is a community that is built for
Moms and babies.
moms and babies.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Thank you so much, Sukhneet. Lovely having you over here.
Thank you so
and I
much.
hope to see you very soon.
Absolutely.
And you are a part of Babies Forest always. And Divraj as well.
Divraj as well.
Thank you so much, Sukhneet.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.